Here's the image imported to Lightroom app. We have all the tools on the right. The first thing you notice is the horizon being slightly slanted. We are going to correct it by going to the crop menu and tap straighten, which is a pretty good automated tool. Now for some basic tuning in light menu. We'll bring down the highlights to get more details from the brighter parts. Also increasing the brightness of the shadows. Reducing the overall exposure to make the image more dark. Also the blacks. Now going to the masking filters for selective editing. First, I will try selecting the person in the image. So we'll tap on select subject, which gives a good result here, selecting only the person in the image. So we can apply edits only on this selection now. Won't do much here, reducing only the exposure in light menu. Next, I will select sky. So tapping on the select sky option. More or less the selection we want here. For this, I'm gonna darken. Also adding blue tones by reducing the temperature in color menu. Now to select the remaining parts, I'm gonna duplicate and invert this sky selection. And we have a new selection which is inverted. I'm gonna darken this part. Also reducing temperature with a slight hint of yellows in the color tool. We'll come back to this selection later with more edits. Now to add the bright sun, I'm gonna add a radial filter. We'll drag it to get this oval shaped filter. Adding exposure. Also orangish tones. In the effects menu, reducing the value of dehaze slider to add a haze effect. Making sure the feather is at 100% for this radial filter. Now we'll add one more radial filter, but a smaller one around here. We'll rotate it a bit. Adding exposure. Also whites. Orangish tones. More temperature. You can see it replicating the sun behind the mountains here. We need more light reflected in the water now. So going back to the filter with only foreground selected, we'll tap on the plus or minus button and select subtract from this mask. Selecting subject first, which subtracts the person here. Also adding one more mask for subtraction and choosing radial filter here. Dragging it to get a selection on the water. This removes the earlier added darkness to the foreground and bring back some light here. We'll add one more separate radial filter on the water. Subtracting the subject. Adding more brightness here. Adding whites too. Also orangish tones. More saturation. Next, adding a color range selection on the greens on the rocks here. We'll make the selection minimal by dragging the refine slider to the left so that only the greens are selected. Adding some whites. Also changing the colors to make it a bit more warmer. Now we'll add a radial filter which covers the sun and the water like this. will subtract the subject. Also the parts around the sun so that it doesn't get more brighter. Adding whites. Also more haze. Coming back to this selection, adding a bit more saturation. Fine-tuning other selections. Now coming to the global settings, we'll add a bit of vignette in the effects menu. Also sharpness selectively using masking slider. In the color menu, adding orangish tones to the highlights and bluish tones to the shadows. Tuning the blues a bit in the HSL sliders. Adding a bit more vibrance. Going to curves for overall tuning of contrast. Cropping the top part a bit here. The final result is here. Hope you found these tricks useful and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.